Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful, Yang Berusaha, Professor Dr. Nur Azizi Ismail, Dean of Othman Yop Abdullah Graduate School of Business, members of the University Management Committee of University Utara Malaysia, Prof. Dr. Cheng Si-wei, Dean, School of Management, University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, Mr. Wei Xiaozhang, Deputy CEO, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Malaysia, Prof. Dr. Xiaoyang Wang, Executive Dean, School of Management, University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, professors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thankful that with the abundance of God's grace, we are able to be here today. Alhamdulillah. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that we call upon Prof. Dr. Nur Azizi Ismail, Dean of Othman Yop Abdullah Graduate School of Business, to give his welcoming remarks. Please welcome.
And a very good afternoon. Respected Professor Dr. Cheng Si-wei, Dean School of Management, University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, Mr. Wei Xiaozhang, Deputy CEO, Industrial and Commerce Bank of China, Malaysia, Professor Dr. Xiaoyang Wang, Executive Dean, School of Management, University of Chinese Academy of Science, my deputy, Dr. Subramaniam, and Dr. Azila, and all the professors. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to welcome delegates from Beijing, China, and thanks for coming to UEM. I hope that you have a wonderful time here, even though it is just a day, one night trip. We have spoken that I was in Beijing last year at the old campus of the University of Chinese Academy of Science, attending the Chinese Business School Forum, which I found a very interesting forum, even though some I could not understand because it was conducted in Chinese, but some of the events are in English. So following that, we hope to have continue our relationship because we believe that China is one of the main economic player. I think this year China and Malaysia will be celebrating the 40 years of anniversary of relationship, diplomatic relationship. So of course, I think that we look forward for more fruitful relationship between the government of China and Malaysia, and at our level between the Othman Yop Abdullah Graduate School of Business and the School of Management, University of Chinese Academy of Science. And today, Professor Si-wei will be talking about China's economy and the development of Malaysia, which I believe will be a very interesting sharing of information, how China look at the way Malaysia and China can cooperate. So with that, I think I'm not going to take much of the time because everyone is, just want to come and listen to the very interesting talk. So with that, thank you and warm welcome to all again.
Thank you, Prof. Dr. Nur Azizi. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, It is an honor to have Prof. Dr. Cheng Si-wei with us today. Okay, currently, Prof. Dr. Cheng Si-wei is a Dean at School of Management, University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, China. Prof. Dr. Cheng was the Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of the 9th and 10th National People's Congress of the Republic of China. He graduated from East China Institute of Chemical Engineering and later earned his MBA from UCLA. He is also the chairman of International Finance Forum and served as the external advisor of World Bank Institute. Prof. Cheng is an distinguished scholar in economic, financial, and managerial field, as well as in chemical industry. He initiated the School of Economy, and his work has extensive influence on academic and China's economy and finance. Now, without further ado, I would like to call upon our distinguished guest, Prof. Dr. Cheng Si-wei, Dean School of Management, University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, China, to deliver his talk on China's economy and the development of Malaysia. Please welcome.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to have this opportunity to visit your beautiful campus and to share my thoughts with you. Okay. As you know, China now became the second largest economic entities in the world. Our GDP now is over $9 trillion. According to my research, the economic cycle in China is about 10 years. And this new economic cycle started from last year and will end by 2023. And the characteristics of this economic cycle is a steady growth. That means the annual growth rate is between 7 to 8%. And the peak of this economic cycle will be reached in the year 2019. That's because, on the one hand, the new leaders of our country, after 5 years, the first term of 5 years, they accumulated experience and reputation. And on the other hand, 2018 is our election year. So after many new leaders came to the leadership position, they would like to make more effort to get a better performance. So according to my prediction, in the year 2019, our growth rate might be reached 9%. But after that, the economic growth rate will slow down. By the year 2023, the end of this economic cycle may be 6 to 7%. So generally speaking, this economic cycle will be called 7 era. And after that, after 2023, we will reach the period of 6 to 7%. That's 6 period. As China is getting larger, the Chinese economy is getting larger and larger. So the growth is a little more and more difficult because the basis is larger. So we are facing 3 main challenges in the coming years. First challenge is environmental problems. We did a research on the environmental cost in terms of low energy efficiency, environmental pollution, and also the damage of ecosystem. In the year 2005, the environmental cost in China was 13.5% of our GDP. And that year, our GDP only grew for 10.4%. That means we have the environmental debt. And this debt will leave to our children and grandchildren. So this should not be sustainable. So we have to pay more attention on the environmental issues. To speak frankly, I really little jealous about your environment, your clear sky, blue sky, and very fresh air. In Beijing, you cannot have such a fresh air. And we just finished another research on the environmental cost in the year 2010. It's getting better, but still high. The environmental cost is 11.6% of our GDP, also higher than our GDP growth. So that means we have to make more effort on the environmental issues. As for Beijing, the main environmental problem comes from three sources. First is construction. If you ever visit Beijing, you can see many construction sites in Beijing. So it generates lots of PM10 and PM2.5. And the second is the industries using coal as energy source, especially the steel industry, cement industry, and so on. Around Beijing is Hebei province. There are 300 million tons steel production capacity around Beijing. So it generates quite a lot of PM2.5, and let alone the many cement factories. And the third pollution source is the automobiles. Only in Beijing, there are over 5 million automobiles. So they generate quite a lot of the waste gas. And so we have to solve this problem from these three sources. So first, we have to reduce the construction in Beijing and make more rigorous regulation to control the emission. And the second is we will shut down some small steel factories and cement factories around Beijing. And the third is we need to raise our standards of the fuels. At this time being, for example, the diesel specification, the soft content is 500 ppm. And by the U5 only allowed 10 ppm. That means one diesel car in Beijing emit the sulfur equals 50 diesel cars in Europe countries. So we recently, our Prime Minister said we have to solve this problem, therefore adopt the European specifications for our car fuels. Certainly this is not an easy job because it will raise the cost of the fuel. but the government will on the one hand, subsidize the factories, the refineries to raise the standard, and on the other hand, the owners of cars also need to pay a higher cost for the better fuels. But nevertheless, because the environmental issue related to people's health and to our children and grandchildren, so we have to solve this problem, even sacrifice some economic growth. So that's why in the past economic cycle, our growth rate was 9.8%, and this cycle we will reduce to 7 to 8%. So that means we will pay more attention to the environmental issues. And the second challenge is the local governmental debt. This is originated from the last financial crisis. As you know, in the subprime crisis in the United States spread all over the world to become a world economic and financial crisis. So by the end of 2008, our government launched a 4 trillion renminbi, renminbi is our currency, the 4 trillion renminbi stimulus package, just like other countries using the stimulus package. Originally, we planned the government only contribute 1.18 trillion renminbi in 3 years. And, but according to our research, without this stimulus package, our growth rate would be 2.4% in the year 2009. So it would be a disaster. But with the stimulus package, we got a 9.2% growth rate. But we have to see the both sides of the coin. On the one hand, because of the stimulus package, we got a 9.2% growth rate. But on the other hand, the negative effects raised quite a lot. In my opinion, maybe we overreact to the financial crisis. As I said, the stimulus package originally is 4 trillion renminbi, but only in the first quarter of 2009, the bank's credit increased by 4.6 trillion renminbi. And for the whole year of 2009, the bank loan increased by 9.6 trillion renminbi, so almost 10 trillion, 2.5 times higher than planned. So in this case, there were many negative effects raised. First is overcapacity, excess of capacity. Among 24 industries in China, 21 industries have excess of capacity. Second is over inventory. Third is lower investment efficiency. In the past, before 2003, our $1 renminbi investment can generate over 50 cents of renminbi GDP. But after 2003, this number is reducing. In the year 2009, we only got $1 renminbi investment only generate 20 cents of GDP. So that means the investment efficiency was reduced quite a lot. Fourth is the environmental cost, as I already mentioned. Fifth is the asset bubble, because such a big loan went mainly to the local governments and to the state-owned enterprises. And the state-owned enterprises, they got such a big loan, they cannot invest in some new projects because of the excess of capacity. So the money went to the housing market and to the stock market. Our housing sales increased 42.1% only in the year 2009. So the asset bubble is growing. Certainly, on the other hand, the danger of inflation also emerged. In the year 2011, reached 5.4%, the historical highest record in the last 20 years. Last but not least is the fast increase of local governmental debts. In the middle of 2010, according to our audit agency, the total local governmental debt was 10.7 trillion RMB. Actually, I met some local governmental officials. I asked them, why are you so bold to borrow such a big debt? So to borrow, they told me at that time the banks encouraged us to borrow. And so we thought, it's stupid not to borrow. It's more stupid to borrow less. It's more stupid to pay back. So they borrow quite a lot of money. And because of some of the local government, they don't have the capability to pay back. So what they can do, on the one hand, is to borrow more, or borrow new debt to pay the old debt. And some local governments, because they already invested in some new projects, and as you know, unless the project has been finished, they can generate profit. And in the construction phase, they have to invest more and more money. So according to our audit agency last year, we made a serious investigation of the local government debts. And it was really astonishing. The total debt increased to around 20 trillion RMB, almost doubled from what the number in the middle of 2010. Actually, in the fourth quarter of 2009, I already mentioned that the subprime in the United States is the banks give the loan to the individuals which do not have the capability to pay back. And the subprime with Chinese characteristics is the banks give the loans to the local governments which do not have the capability to pay back. According to our estimation, 1/3 of the local government do not have the capability to pay back. So this will cause a big problem. So our government take serious measures to deal with this problem. Some people said, no problem, our central government has lots of money. We have a 3.82 trillion US dollars foreign reserve. So we have no problem. But I think if the central government pay the debt, that means we will encourage the people to default, right? So we should not to do that. We only can subsidize some projects which related to social security or people's living. We cannot just pay all the debt for the local governments. So the second problem, maybe it will become the non-performing assets of the banks. So this is also not a good not a good measures. And the worst measure is dilute the debts by inflation. So we cannot allow this to happen. So what we can do is to digest to supervise the local government to digest the debts in a period of time, maybe in a 5 years period of time. On the one hand, the central government will subsidize part of the debts related to social security and people's living. And the second, we allow the local government to issue the bonds, the local governmental bonds, using their asset to back up the bonds. So I think this will be solved in this economic cycle. Otherwise, you can see China's total M2 now reached about 110 trillion renminbi, or almost double the 2 times of our GDP. It's too high. The reason is because some money not actually went to the real economy and just borrow new money, new debt to pay old debt. And the third challenge we are facing is the GDP worship. For some years, the local government leaders, they want to get a better performance, so that means a higher GDP growth. So the easiest way to get the GDP growth is to increase investment, right? Because through investment, you can pull the demand of steel, cement, timber, and a part of the investment will convert to consumption through wages. So investment is the easiest and the fastest way to make GDP growth. But so at this time being, our investment is over 2/3 of our GDP. This is much higher than other countries. And this also caused many negative problems. For example, the investment efficiency is reducing not only because of the over-investment, but also because the water in the GDP. What's the water in the GDP? First, if you have a bad construction project, say you build a bridge and the bridge crashed down, and you have to rebuild it, and that means you will double the GDP, right? When you build the bridge, you have the GDP, and you rebuild the bridge, you have the GDP. So double the GDP, but this GDP is a harmful GDP, right? And the second is some projects, when you finish because of market problem or technology problem, they cannot start up. So in this case, when you can get the GDP under the construction phase, but you cannot generate GDP more after they finish. So this is we call non-performing GDP. And the third kind of GDP is you build up a GDP, but they cannot generate enough return. Say, many Chinese cities now is building subways. And many cities, when they build these subways, they cannot cover the operating cost of the subway. So the government should subsidize the subway. So in this case, on the one hand, the investment generated GDP through the subway construction. But on the other hand, the government will subsidize from their financial incomes to cover the gap of the operating cost. So in my opinion, the most important thing in China now is not increasing the GDP, is increasing the productivity. For example, our industrial sector, we have about 200 million employees, and the value added generated is around 22 trillion renminbi. That means 11,000. That means 110,000 renminbi per capita, right? And it is almost 2,000 US dollars per capita. 20,000 US dollars per capita. And this is much lower than other countries. Only 1/5 comparing with Germany, and 1/8 comparing with the United States. Even 1/3 comparing with Greece. So, and this number should be divided by 3 parts. The government takes part of the value added through taxes. The enterprises will reserve part of them. So the rest goes to the workers. So in this case, the average salary in our industrial sector is only 40,000 to 50,000 renminbi per year. So even the government doesn't take any tax, the enterprise doesn't reserve any profit. It's only 110,000 RMB, right? This number is a little higher than the unemployment subsidies in the developed countries. So what we should do is to raise the productivity, to let each workers to create more wealth for the society. So then we can get a better, healthy growth. So that means we need to pay more attention to the TFP, total factor productivity. And this means we should promote innovation, technical innovation, from raise the quality of the labor and through education, and also to improve the management. And in my opinion, the most important is to raise the quality of labor of human sources through education. So because at this time being, the competition between countries is mainly competition of their economic strengths. And the competition of the economic strengths is mainly depend upon the competition of the technical progress. And the competition between technical progresses is based on the quality of human resources. And the competition of quality of human resources is the competition of the creativity and activity of the human resource. So I said education is very important. Economy can guarantee our today. Science and technology can guarantee our tomorrow. But only education can guarantee our day after tomorrow. So investing in education is investing in our future. So I think this is very important in the future, to the future of China. So the universities will play a more and more important role in China. I believe also in Malaysia. But so as I said, to dealing with these challenges, most important thing is innovation. Innovation not only means technical innovation, also means institutional innovation and management innovation. I just published a book with my colleagues last year. The title is, my title is The Core of Reform is Institutional Innovation. And in the resolution of the 18th National CPC Congress on the comprehensive reform